Hello, Interstellar everyone. Welcome to class 11 biology. With this video, we are going to start a new chapter from your biology textbook, that is chapter number 14, respiration in plants. Patang azu chapter sawa respiration in plants lai de ko zu enda. So azu na zo khar ga jangre la bin na respiration lai concept ga jangre. Even though the title says respiration in plants, right? We are going to focus upon the concept respiration, and that too cellular respiration. You might think that by respiration we mean breathing process, right? Kira zo nyama zinda chunga na lo respiration na janglu zamba lo u tong lenga da jang yugur, right? Respiratory system na to jang yugur. But respiration la wa imba na so khare la wa imba na the release of energy by the breakdown of food materials, right? So that is called as respiration. Mazu khala sawar khala khajin sawar. Why do we eat food? Right? We eat food in order to get energy. So that energy can keep us alive, right? Swembo ne wala energy gugore ro energy di khane rawor la wembe na zo khala ne rawor khala di kharchi gore it breaks down, right? After digestion gan gesho or the digestion chung sa jela, after all digestion has happened, all the nutrients has been assimilated into the cells, right? The cell nang lo la kharchi gore, right? Food material di kharchi gore, digested food material di kharchi achu de peju chi gore la wembe na breakdown chini energy release chi achu de peju chi gore, and that energy is utilized for other life processes, and that particular process is called as respiration. So ngazu kharla orla na cellular respiration gan ke chi or. Okay, so the title khare respiration in plants, main concept khare kan jaya re respiration kana jaya ta se uchung so. Okay, so like I said before, all living organisms they need energy for carrying out daily life activities. Rather kyeng khande doji mai na khonzu la khar gu gor la mai na energy gu gor, energy khar che ju gu gor la na to keep uh to keep themselves alive, right? So daily life activities la mai na khalo gore. So simple level activity khar chigi yobi mene, breathing, reproduction, right? Movement khar chigi yobi mene, eating dige sama activity cha ruwa, activity dige che wala energy gu or organisms. So that is important concept. Okay, so all organisms think energy, right, some way or the other, and all the energy required for the life processes is obtained by oxidation of some kind of macromolecules that we call food, right? Sadanjinya laswa khala ne rawo res energy di khane rawo la we mena khala ne ani khala di kharchi woni breakdown chi gorla so breakdown la we mena was a general english term re, so we have to call it oxidation of, right? So when food get oxidized, right, the food down lo proteins your carbohydrates your fats your dige sama khachi gore, they all are broken down or they all are oxidized in order to release energy, and that energy is required by the living organisms to keep themselves alive or to carry out their life processes. Okay, so the chapter this chapter deals with cellular respiration, right, which means the mechanism of breakdown of food materials within the cell release energy, right? And that energy is trapped in the form of ATP or adenosine triphosphate. Okay, so ngazu di chapter na lo cellular respiration kana jangar. Tadi nge u tongle je bu mare la so ti la go jumsen khare ngazu khala sa sa ve digest che sa ve jela ani digested food material, right? Glucose in by ne amino acids in by ne bit chin 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 dige chazang kharchi gore cell la pha tang gorwa, right? Sukbu cell yongzo lo kopsha gya gorwa cell gin nang lo la digested food material dige khachi gore they are broken down, right? Some of them they are broken down in order to release energy, right? And that energy is trapped in the form of ATP, right? Adenosine triphosphate. So we have got macromolecules, right? Carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and usually carbohydrates they are the respiratory substrates, so we will talk about that later on, right? And macromolecules they are oxidized or broken down to release energy, and that energy is trapped in the form of adenosine triphosphate, right? So the chemical energy run on yadi gorda, right? And ATP is also called as the energy currency of the cell. ATP la dinenga chumbur ko khare energy currency of the cell chadu, wherever energy is required ATP is utilized. Okay, but ATP khoran suya nuba dikhane rawor la bimbana hala digin macromolecules dige ma breakdown chini oxidize chini energy chorwa, that energy is utilized to produce ATP. So we are going to study about this one, and that is called as cellular respiration. Entire process is called as cellular respiration. Okay, so also respiration law imba na definition khari jana yasare. What is the proper definition of respiration or cellular respiration? So definition kharcha do hai the breaking of carbon-carbon bonds, right? Carbon-carbon ni ki para la bond jo mare chemical bond jo ro. Di ma breakdown che process jo mare. Di lo ngazo respiration la wolo. Tadi ma lo enda. The breaking down of carbon-carbon bonds of complex compounds or macromolecules through oxidation within the cells, right? And leading to the release of considerable amount of energy is called respiration. So definition of respiration di cha do. Breathing is a part of respiration. Respiration lana so concept kar rahe breaking of carbon-carbon bonds in the food materials, especially carbohydrates, right, within the cells, and which leads to the release of energy. That is called as respiration, right? Any respiration law and definition di by na. The carbon-carbon bond yo complex compound mangu pair ro. So dige sama langa jo ki khar lag re law by na respiratory substrates lag re. Right, the compounds that are oxidized during this process are known as respiratory substrates. Right, so the enzyme involved here was sonza. And the respiratory substrate killer. Substrate love enzyme act chesagi chemical substrates lagi. So the compounds that are oxidized during this process, they are known as respiratory substrates. Respiratory substrates can be any kind of food material. Carbohydrates ke insigre, proteins, fats, organic acids ke insigre. But for most common respiratory substrate khare lawim na carbohydrate charur. So ngazo chapter dinang la carbohydrate ma breakdown kandis chigi oxidize oxidized kandis chigi megala jangre. Right? But it does not mean that only carbohydrates can be respired. Proteins, fats, and organic acids can be also broken down in order to release energy. That is example yaksho kharite yo la wimpa na. Isi ngazo hunger strike dojo lo drobo yimba na. Mijik hunger strike la drobo yimba na. First of all, carbohydrates ko sopu na lo carbohydrates, right? Glucose, sucrose, ni khare glycogen. Ye sama ma breakdown chiya ko zu. Carbohydrate mang che ma breakdown chesa wimba na. Carbohydrate store che yo ma breakdown chesa wimba na. Next kharchi gire fats breakdown chiya ko. Right. Tandyo khala masan fat sama zo way mana mi kombucha ruwa. And chel khari breakdown chigre proteins breakdown chigre. Right. And the into zambala nyanga chambucha za. The protein breakdown chidu zambala your muscles they start breaking down. That is a dangerous situation. So right. The duty zambala kyab thune kyab madu way mana mit hoyare. So hunger strike do ta way mana most readily available source of energy dikhara do carbohydrates. Carbohydrates subuna tha sama zo sa bata fats la fats breakdown chiya go. Fats breakdown chesa vechela proteins. Then okay, so that is about the respiration. Now let's see. We are talking about respiration in plants, right? The plants na respiration. Plants ke respiration chigi or na chigor. So plants they also need oxygen, right? So oxygen go but plants they do not have special respiratory organs. Plants nalola special respiratory organs yomare. So how do plants manage, right, a constant supply of oxygen without having any special respiratory organs like us? Ngazunang shinagu kadin madoni migbache migbane madoni lungs landinde yomare alveoli landinde yomare ne khunzul oxygen dikhandes ra do gorela wimba na. Each plants they take care of its own gas exchange needs. So plants they photosynthesize, right? Higher plants they photosynthesize with the help of chloroplast, right? So chloroplast now photosynthesis chidi zambala oxygen release chiyo. Oxygen is a byproduct of photosynthesis, and that oxygen can be used for respiration as well. So respiration chidi zambala oxygen gugu yobi imba na photosynthesis ne tyongyo oxygen de khorang rang vegetation ne di goro. And respiration rate of plants is far lower compared to that of animals, right? Plants they don't move. Plants yama move chigumare, right? The plants korang temperature maintain and the body temperature maintain chego and the maro. Di do zambala plants nanglola respiration gi rate jomare. So respiration kesi kiran chemical reaction dojil tsi by reaction ran roy breakdown of macromolecules, right? So respiration rate of plant is far lower compared to that of animals, right? Simje the mandawegi plants nalola respiration ki rate jo rohti pat kora slow tha yores din du zamala oxygen ki nyunga war. So the oxygen produced by itself is sufficient for its own respiration, right? And the distance of gas diffusion is very less, right? And most living cells are near the surfaces of the plants. Nga zu do ji bai na. Nga zu do u ya tong len chen ni lungs ne ma ki sta ta do kopsha ma ya bai na blood ki through, right? So nga zu gi respiration chungsa sa ja kho khasal chungo ra level le chungo re kangba le chungo re, right? So all those cells, they need constant supply of energy, so the gas they need to be transported to long distances, right? So gas diffusion distance tharungu shu jo nga zu na supu nang lo la, animal supu nang lo, but in plants the distance of gas diffusion is very less. Plant ki supu nang lo la gas di tharungu shira shira dogmar. Most of the living cells of the plants, they are near the surfaces of the plant. They la so khar go chhe go la bi roma doji na tap touch madu mindo din lo cell ka mangu shira yo marwa, and din lo oxygen de thar ngu shira do mar gas diffusion thar ngu shira che go mar din zambala ele ka ye shira mindo the system do sta wi mana stem thupu ndi yo wi mene all the living cells, right? Stem thupu shu jore de ni living cell mang che khare yore surface ki thi de le yor din zambala oxygen yan ting ding le ya zu marwa. So gas, it does not need to diffuse very far into the plant cells, right? All the diffusion can happen at the surface level. The plant can survive. Okay. Fourth dikhare, openings called lenticels are present on the stem, right? So plants kala khare they have got openings. Tangazu kiran zunya ma zindu chunju gobdu stomata kana jang yugur. Stomata is also used for taking in khare oxygen ya le la peju chigre. In a stem gang le igun yor tenzu lang hasu khal lagre lenticels lagrta. So this may be a new word for you. I don't know if you know this before, right? So openings called lenticels are present on the stem. So you can see lenticels over here, and these lenticels, they can help in the intake of oxygen from atmosphere. Atmosphere and oxygen ya nanglo thyan lo wajir, and the oxygen thing azu sulu peju che yore stem nanglo le yogi parenchymatous cell dige chigro ani bhagnanglo respiration chungtu war. So parenchyma cells of leaves are loosely packed. So plants, they don't have special respiratory organs, but still they get constant supply of oxygen because parenchyma cells of leaves are loosely packed. Parenchyma cell they are a type of plant cell, living cell, right? So parenchymatous cells of the leaves, they are loosely packed, which means loosely packed cell air spaces here. So you can see over here. So if we cut open a leaf, right, cross section see upper epidermis, lower epidermis, and in between you have got these parenchymatous cells. Mesophil cell lash mindwe, palisade cell, the spongy mesophil cell, these are parenchymatous cells. So these parenchymatous cells, you can see they have got large intercellular spaces. Or intercellular space the intercellular space the stomata ne stomata ne carbon dioxide ya nalo lengyo the oxygen ya nalo lengyo the amen oxygen produce yo the machilo the yomarwe. So the gas exchange to sambala upun nalo la large intercellular spaces yo na the gases, they can easily travel within the cells, right? So they have got air spaces. So it helps in the quick exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. So plants nanglola special respiratory organ mewi bene. Stomata the lenticel chibo madu mewi bene opening chunju ndem. Ni madu mewi bene rigmanda ni madu mewi bene. Plant la oxygen kazu goyo gyo chumare respiration chela. Tagda radu ores la ta to kumzen odire. So ngazu ki plant, they need to respire. Plant is also a living organism, so they also need to perform respiration in order to keep itself alive, right? So plant oxygen cheku produce che di mar the plant oxygen consume ge chi war da in oxygen consume che da produce che gi rate di durwa im bai na oxygen produce che gi rate di pet gyo ga yor ti ma song za plant gi photosynthesis ki tur oxygen ma te tu war wa so so over here I also tell one more thing, right? Plant photosynthesis chedu sambala khala swego khala koran ran chedu swego the plant, they produce food during photosynthesis. That food they prepare for themselves, not for herbivores. Herbivore khachigore predate chigorwa plant sadu sambala, it's like a predator prey relationship, right? Herbivore gi plant sadu sambala bhaju da denzu ki plant sadu sambala predation act chireda. plan gi khala sögyo de khora ran shedu sögo ormado phajul miktan sögo marwa seo chungso ni plan gi khala sögyo de kharchi gore respiration cheni khora la energy raya chedu chigor hone chena seo chungso so plants they also perform respiration. Now respiration nalo la type manda nier tanga zu loktem nalo la. So those two types are aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. So kina nyama zinda kap de jang yu zinda chungwa na jang yu re. Aerobic respiration la dizambala khala ore if the breakdown of macromolecule happens in the presence of oxygen or with the help of oxygen, it is called as aerobic respiration. Right? So if the breakdown of organic molecules like glucose, it happens with the help of oxygen. Oxygen gi help cheni and glucose ma breakdown chigi yobi. Ilanga zu khale aerobic respiration. Since there is involvement of oxygen, there is complete oxidation of the macromolecule. Right? Complete oxidation of the macromolecule or the respiratory substrate happens. And then our respiratory substrate then azu khar mil azu khar tagre lawin na glucose tagre C6H12O6 is a glucose molecule. And this glucose molecule is broken down with the help of oxygen, right? And it results in complete oxidation. Complete oxidation la nga zo khar la gore carbon carbon parallel yo bonds sama ma breakdown chi or. So carbon 2 kenan chain form na ma thida. Ko bola bond khajo yore ngari joro. Ti bond ngaja khajo gore ma cha or. So there is complete oxidation of glucose molecule. And it results in the formation of 6 carbon dioxide molecules and 6 water molecules, and it results in the release of energy. Whereas in case of anaerobic respiration, there is no oxygen involved, oxygen yomar. And din nanglo la khari chungola anaerobic respiration nanglo la, in the absence of oxygen, glucose molecule is broken down. That glucose molecule is not broken down completely into 6 carbon dioxide molecules. Glucose ki para le gyo da kharsa glucose nalo la carbon carbon bond changma ma cha thu go mar, so there is partial breakdown and it results in the formation of carbon dioxide den form ching mar da khar form chigre lactic acid na alcohol form chigre, and therefore they are called as fermentation. Anaerobic respiration can be referred to as fermentation as well. And kunyi ni para la khewa khariyor lawim, since there is complete breakdown of glucose, carbon carbon bond changma ma cha tu zambala energy ge manga release chigor aerobic respiration now. More energy is released in aerobic respiration. In anaerobic respiration, less energy is released. So we will see later on how many ATPs are produced. So energy manga release chigiyo na ATP manga produce chigire aerobic respiration now. Anaerobic respiration now energy less release chigiyo basonza ATP ge nyua sugur. So these are the two types of respiration. Okay, so kisi aerobic respiration hi binary aerobic respiration hi binary anaerobic respiration hi binary, there is one common step. First step the common niga nanglo la glucose ma breakdown cheyage process shorwa tadi nge de lela do should the aerobic respiration la dusam C6H12O6 plus agar oxygen molecule ni de ma cha energy thungre la do carbon dioxide. But this is also not a single step process like photosynthesis. Photosynthesis nanglo la carbon dioxide the water du sia jani glucose so di single step process remendo in nangshi respiration nanglo le breakdown cheyage process shoro. It's not a single step process, it is broken down into a step by step process. Step shuji involved here. The breakdown process involves many steps, and energy is released in these step by step. Energy is also released in a step by step manner. Okay, in it that dinalo step thangbu jo marwe aerobic respiration, the anaerobic respiration nalo chibu chigyan re ilanga zu khar lagre glycolysis lagre. Glycolysis la dizambala chigi thunda khare splitting of sugar. So in the next video we will study about glycolysis. We will discuss about glycolysis. So kiranzo glycolysis kana tis loda, right? Glycolysis lana khariresha. What is the result of glycolysis, right? How many ATPs are produced during glycolysis? Di kiranzo loda ro section kiranzo lotem na later glycolysis laidi, right? And it is also a multi-step process. Glycolysis laidi a multi-step process reda. Ine di khare respiration gi step thangbo di charo aerobic respiration inere anaerobic respiration in benere kunniga gi step thangbo di khare respiration gi step thangbo di glycolysis charo, which means splitting of sugar. So please read about glycolysis before you watch the next video.